So, welcome to Wednesday Wham. Just me tonight. It looks like everyone else is busy preparing for the Halloween holidays. That's okay. That's okay. Uh, do some drawing. I'm working tonight on a page for our Silverline Christmas special, which is being kickstarted right now on Indiegogo and Kickstarter. And I'll play a video here in a few minutes. Explain. Well, I don't know. Should I play it at the end? I don't know. Anyway, so uh hold on. Let me find chat comment. Okay. This is from a comic called Silver Blade, which is coming out soon. This is a Christmas special. I'm coloring this. This is Dean Zachary, who is one of our members on Wednesday Wham. This is his artwork. And so I'm adding in shadows. And so I guess I'll just be rambling about stuff. If anyone wants to ask questions to me in general or about nerd stuff or comics, um, I'm just kind of so right now I'm coloring the what am I coloring the wall, trying to figure out where shadows hit. There's a few light points in here. We have the candles, which are kind of going to light up this wall. Strangely enough, I went to a what was it? It was a lantern tour. I live in Vancouver, Washington, outside Portland, Oregon, and we have a Fort Vancouver, where we all started from around here. And every Christmas or whatever, they do these lantern tours where they shut off all the lights. People carry lanterns around there, and they basically you get to see the fort as if it's like during the actual time. I think this is colonial times. But I was amazed at how low light candlelight is. I mean, in movies they show it like this really bright, but in actual oh hey, Robert Kapachi. I am not technically sure, Robert. Nobody kind of jumped in. I think they're all kind of busy, so I just thought I'd come on and do some streaming, do some art, kind of hang out. So yeah, but strangely enough, if I was to light this with just the candlelight, it would be an incredibly dark scene. The fireplace gives us a lot more light, but the candlelight gives off very little. So it'd be like little circles around here. So I'm gonna, I guess it pays to exaggerate those things. So, but yeah, I'm just kind of coloring on this, and then I'm planning to go with a friend tonight to see Dune after this. I've not seen it yet. I've not read the books. I'm one of the few sci-fi nerds that have not read Dune. I saw the old movie, and I've heard my friend tell me the story so many times. I feel like I know it. But I'm excited to see the movie. The funny thing is like I don't mind sci-fi epics. I've always been kind of more into like quests or adventures like Conan or like D&D adventures. Sometimes the sprawling epics don't really do it for me. I guess that maybe I just like more personal stories. Some do. Um, Dune is one of those ones that I don't know. I mean, I've never had this big urge to read it. I know people have talked about it, and people who read it love it. It's a classic. I mean, I think it was published in the 50s or 60s. Let me see. When was Dune first published? Now I'm going to look that up myself. Dune book first published 1965. Wow, that is pretty old. Well, there you go. Now we looked up that fact. Um, feels like this should be. I almost feel like I want to make this darker up here. So maybe I will make this a little darker and do that. This should be light, but not like a spotlight. Try not to make the scene too dark. I mean, I do want to definitely throw the walls into the background. I mean, they're not supposed to be. I mean, they're backdressing. The main focus is the two main characters, a woman and the woman on the bed. So sometimes what I'll do in here, I will desaturate the colors in the background and make the other ones, but very, very minor. Let me see if I could turn off the saturation so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. This will be very, very minor, but you might be able to see it. There's a little brighter, and then you click on the now that's off saturation. We look at the bricks. desaturated, just a little grayer. But it kind of makes the people pop out a little more. I don't know. I started doing that and I found that I kind of liked it. So it works. Learning as we go. Still working on color theory. I took a class in color theory at the Art Institute years ago. Man, just taking one class, I realized you can spend an entire lifetime studying color theory and not know everything. I don't know if any colorists out here. I use a website called Cooler, Kuler. It's by Photoshop. You can find it online. You just type it into uh, the internet, and it gives you different color combinations. So you can pick a color on here. You can so you pick pick a color and get its number, which I think is I don't know if it's a Pantone number. You can get an RGB, put it into Cooler. It'll tell you all the colors that will go with it in various color combinations. I thought that was pretty cool. So, but yeah, you get to see how comics are made. Exciting. Actually, I do think comics are kind of exciting to make. If anything, making comics along myself, I know how much work goes into these things. So even if I read a comic and if it's not my thing and I don't like it, I still give props to people who made it because it's definitely a passion. I think most art is a collaboration or I can't play music for the life of me, so I'm always impressed by musicians. I'm sure if they would explain, I'm sure they'd look at their musical instrument and be like, I don't see what the big problem is. It's totally easy. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But I've always been impressed by musicians. Color around here. If anyone wants to know how I'm doing these shadows, this is a kind of like almost a dark brown, almost black brown. It's about that area of the color picker down in that area. Then it is just a layer that is on multiply. And I usually do different opacities. So like this is 30%. So if I go darker, it'll turn black. Put the number down, opacity 30%. It shows through and multiply. You could do it on normal. Multiply seems to, I don't know, go a little darker. It's just kind of a go-to. But that's how you do it. Then you can just color it. And you play it and mess with the opacities on specific colors. Not all opacities go with certain colors. If you do a shadow on red with a certain opacity, it may look different than a shadow on something else, like say a blue or whatever. So you adjust it as you see fit. So I have a cat staring at me. Yes. I have a very old female cat named Butters. Butters may be coming into, yes, you're circling my feet. May be coming into focus here soon. We will see. Butters likes to occupy my lap as I do art because I'm technically not using my lap right now, so there's no reason not for her not to use it. So I almost want to know if the right. No, I'm gonna close that all in. Thought about adding. Well, let me see. I'm actually drawing in the shadows, so it makes this process a little different than others. I know some people would do the gradients, would do like marquee things out and then gradient. Uh, Never learned how to do that. Let me go back. I kind of like shadow, but not complete shadow. We'll erase the little smudges here. There we go. There we go. Erase the little boo-boos where I draw outside the lines. Even as a child, I drew outside the lines. It's artist thinking for you. Oh, that kind of looks. Decisions. Maybe we'll do that. Not like anyone's really going to go out of their way to notice that. Of course, now that I've said it on the air, everyone's going to notice it. Like, oh, look at that shadow. It's horrible. Just you know what? Let us. I can do that without drawing in between all the little itty bitty leaves on that tree. Let's go. We are on panel 5. Let's go to the Christmas tree. See if we can highlight the whole thing. Close enough. Now to draw outside of it, we will go select, inverse my selection, and now we should be able to draw outside and around the Christmas tree and not have it go on the Christmas tree. Well, that's technically the idea. Might be a little smudges. Anybody who draws in Photoshop knows the classic rule. Try not to multiply or zoom in on your picture too much, because everything will look bad. You'll see little lines smudging in and out and all that stuff. That looks bad. Drives you nuts. Anybody's got OCD, see? Little spaces. Do 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 do. Smudge that. Get that. And there. Little shadow. Close enough. We'll go with that shadow. Okay, let me back up and see how that looks. That'll work. There's certainly a lot of light for candlelight, but that's 3 candles. So we're going on 3 candle power right now. So that should work. And I'm going to go with that. Let's do another layer. Multiply. We'll just knock it down to 35 to start with. And let's do some shadows on the bricks. Everything gets their own shadows. And then eventually you just end up with a ton of shadows. But that's okay. Lots of layers in Photoshop. Lots and lots of layers. That's where you organize them. I don't name my layers. I really should, but I get lazy. So we're on layer 68. Like I said, I really should name them, but I don't. I had teachers, you should go in and name all your layers. I'm like, no one's going to see the Photoshop file. Unless now that I told you and everyone online is going to start requesting it. It's funny. I'm one of the few people. I have used Clip Studios. I used it back when it was called Manga Studio. I need to get Clip Studio. I just been so used to doing Photoshop that I just kind of stuck with it. Most of the time I do my own art. It's by hand, pencil, actual ink. So I just usually color in the computer. Just use the computer to color stuff. I have a very hard time coloring or drawing with the little tablet I'm using. Never been able to figure that out. And maybe I should take more time, but I just kind of felt like, well, I could try to spend more time doing that, or I could just buy a Cintiq, which I've used. Cintiqs are great, or just draw regularly and scan it in, which is what I started doing. Let's give each brick their own shadow, because I guess variety. Shadows get less and less. Just a little smidge, if anything, here. I'll kind of pop that out. I feel like Bob Ross. Maybe I should start talking in a very calm. They're happy bricks. Take a little darker, Well, maybe I can make them. That's kind of cool. That's almost a 60% opacity. It's not bad. A little dark. Interesting. Let me see how that goes with the other shadows. It kind of makes a little dark. What would happen if I did the other one to kind of Let me see. I actually kind of like it as sturdy. I kind of like the bricks darker and that lighter. Go figure. I don't know. Yeah, I guess there would be a shadow from the smoke. I guess we could do that. What would the shadow be? I guess it would be, I think, above. Let's try that. So we will fake it with the best of them. Let's draw a little shadow here. There. There. That works. Okay. Then we will, oops, use the eraser to massage or sculpt the shadow. I guess, do they use the word massage? Maybe that's more of a sculpting term. Massaging your sculptor or sculpture. Doo-doo. Let's just do that. Yeah, that kind of works. We'll do that for the other ones. Let's just do shadow here, here. And just checking to see. Okay, let me see here. Should I add a shadow on the plate? Yeah, let's try that. Yeah, that kind of works. A little shadow coming from behind. Smoke does cast a shadow. Not a lot, but it does. Besides, it looks cool, doesn't it? Remember, kids, that's the number one rule of comics. If it looks cool, it probably shouldn't show my face then if that's the, because all the, that's okay. Now we need to do the other wall. We're going to do a different shadow opacity. Oh, just for variety, I do make the walls like this wall over here is darker colored and generally darker color than this color. You don't have to do that. It just kind of helps bridge that gap of like 3D. One wall's dark and one wall's lighter. It feels like it goes maybe a little more in space. You can see that sort of three-dimensionality. Instead of, if you make it all one color, it looks like one, maybe sometimes can look like a flat wall with a line through it. So I don't know, just a trick I've done. I technically have no idea if all this stuff is right. It just works for me. Whether or not there's a right and wrong in this stuff. Let's see here. Okay. So the light is coming from the fireplace and the candles, which means lots and lots of shadows on the wall. Like we may be just filling in pretty much do this whole wall with shadow. A little dark right now, but let's just get it in there. We'll adjust the opacity. Shadow, shadow, shadow. Add shadows. Make it look pretty. Number one rule of comics, make it look pretty. So comics is all about beauty. The comic could be about anything. As long as it's pretty, it'll sell. At least that's the general idea. Around her head. Looks a little sharp. Let's actually cut that down even more. And let us do. Kind of sharp corner in the wall. It's okay. Let's extend that eraser so I can see, so I know what I'm erasing. Kind of erase the corner. And then we will, let's, us, there. That kind of works. I don't know, I kind of like that darkness. I almost feel like that's 43 opacity. This is 45. Kind of like that. Little dark. It's really going to pop out those characters. Decisions. Let me see what it looks like a little lower. May not be as dark. Well, I don't know. It would be darker on the back wall. Not as dark on this wall. That is 20. We could do a 27. Let's play with that for a while and see how that's it. Sometimes I'll just set things at a certain opacity and keep coloring and see how that feels. And if it feels too light or too dark, I'll adjust it at the end. Um, Sometimes you just kind of have to fill in all the shadows first to kind of judge what's the correct opacity. A lot of times I just feel what's the correct opacity, what's going to work. It just feels right. Art is with feelings. We make all our comics here at Silverline with feelings. Um, so if you don't buy our comics, you will make us cry. We do have entire streams of us just doing nothing but crying because no one buys our comics. Very sad. We're up there. We're pretty much even with the commercials with the dogs are looking really sad, and you're supposed to donate to feed the dogs and stuff, which are really sad commercials. We are giving them a run for their money, which is impressive. We don't have the Celine Dion song yet that they use in the commercial, but we will be getting that soon. That we will all be crying, and everyone who watches will feel bad and run out and buy our comics. If we could just have pictures of our dog, all of our dogs and cats looking sad, that'd be even better. That you would make my dog or my kitty sad because you don't buy our comics. That'd be hilarious if somebody actually did that. That would be shadow. That would the light. Would the light actually hit that? It seems like the light would hit that. It would be above. You might. Let me see here. Do. I almost wonder. Would really it all just be in shadow? I can do the door in some shadow. Hmm. Feels like there should be like a light, like a break here. That's what I keep looking at, like a break here. But I don't think that's right. I think this is right. I mean, I'm thinking that's right. It looks right. There. Every once in a while, I do. You can add shadows on the shadows. Not. I don't do it a lot because then eventually you just get into like shadows upon shadows. But you can make a marquee. Do that. Do that here. Paint bucket. Drop shadow, and then adjust the opacity down so this looks like a sharp shadow within a shadow. Yeah, that might look. I think we're just gonna keep all that in the shadow. We'll do even the bricks in shadow. It seems like you want a light source, but fireplaces and stuff, and it would help pop these characters out because the wall is not the focus. So we are going to do even the bricks in shadow up here. Yes, you do all these pretty colors and you cover them up with black opacity, but it's supposed to look good in the end. All's fair in art, and always work in layers, kids. Uh, Multiple layers. That way, in case you mess up, you could just turn the layer on and off. Love layers. I had a teacher who said, "No, you should," because he was trying to mimic painting. You should only paint one layer. That's ridiculous. If Photoshop gives you the ability to make layers, they're doing it for a reason. Besides, was he really bragging to other people? Like I did all of this in one layer. Um, I mean, if worse comes to worse, I could do this all in different layers and collapse the whole thing in the end and then lie to everyone. I did it in one layer. Like that kind of just that little boop shadow. Oh, wait. It's, okay, there's a little light hitting there. Okay, now we're going to do shadows on the door frame. I told you this gets exciting. I mean, it gets exciting to me. I'm not sure if it gets exciting to you guys. It is definitely fun to the pictures come together. Oh, I think I missed a little line up there. Gotta Gotta go in, gotta erase the on her head. So you should have a big shadow going across their face. We'll get to her in time. Some people start out doing the characters first. I don't know. I sometimes do that. Sometimes I'll just kind of start in the background first. That way, if we get the background done, it's easier to apply the characters, shadows more. That's 38. Okay, that's probably going to be darker. That's okay. See how you focus up? And you see all the little scribbles in there? See how that goes? So you didn't see them before, but now you see little dots here, little scribbles there. Of course, they're definitely not going to show up in the print, but you never know. I must do my best. Okay. Oop, that is the wrong shadow. What shadow is this then? Oh, the second one. Oh, here's the big one. Okay. Little boogers. I forgot I missed. Okay, I think that works. Okay, well, good enough. It's good enough. It's good enough. I've learned with making comics that there are a lot of things that are just good enough. I remember my friend and I would sit there and stew over things that people are going to notice is, little fingers wrong or the shadow's wrong. And I remember a good friend of mine saying, I think when somebody's reading a comic, they're just not even going to register that or not even care. It's just not even going to be an issue for them because, strangely enough, you might see it as a mistake, but if you print your mistakes, the reader's going to think you did that intentionally. And when they think you did it intentionally, they think there's no mistakes. So remember that, kids. No matter what you do in comics, once you publish it, all mistakes are absolved. Let me see here. Just do 50 and even 50. Looks like we have to add in some shadows down here. Okay, yeah, and then we have to do that. Erase the thing on her coat. I almost kind of like just these kind of, yeah. We'll just use the same shadows on there. Okay. See, I'm already noticing. Wait, that is. No, that's not this shadow. Where is that shadow? Oh no, it's up there. That's right. It is up here. It is this shadow. I have found things I have missed. And I have overdrawn a little things here and there. Da-da-da-da. And I forgot to color this down here, which I'm just going to make all black. Because the focus is on the two women, one with the groceries, one with the gloves. And I do add a light. So I go back and after it's done, and the opposite side I add a light. I probably will use an orange since it's fire. You can usually just a yellow for a light, but you might can use an orange. Put it on the overlay layer mode overlay instead of multiply, and then you can adjust the opacity there, and you can make light. Let there be light, and then you too can feel like a god creating light and shadow in your magical world. Okay, so let us do the rest of the door, and we can do little marquee. That's okay. And then we will fill in the little, let me see, it's multiply. That is 45. Let me try that. I almost want a little dark. Of course, I over colored outside the lines because that happens. There. 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 I think that's magical because this side I'll just do in light, and so it'll look magical. I think I'm going to do the other side of the door all in shadow. So I think this is just going to be straight up shadow. Do, 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 do. Most people marquee and just do bucket fill to fill in colors and shadow. I actually like the color like this. I think coloring comics is like my version of the adult coloring book fad that was going on a while ago, which may still be going on. Coloring, relaxing, calming to the mind until you go out of the lines, like I'm doing now. And then that is bad. Okay. Do 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 do. Okay. Color, 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 color. I could marquee and bucket fill this, but why give up a zen moment with a bucket fill when I can color it in pure meditative bliss? So that's what I'm gonna do. Do do do. Do 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 do. There. Color, color, color. Go down. Color some more. I think kind of cool about this Christmas special. I think that all it's full of 6-page stories, and the Christmas special covers, I think, every title we have so far out Silverline. So it's also a great way to pick it up, check it out, maybe find a little story and some characters like, oh, I really love these characters. Then you go find out their comic. Kind of like a Shonen Jump. Well, Shonen Jump didn't really do this. I used to collect Shonen Jump when they used to come out in America for a short time. They would collect comics. The comics are like actual installments of a series, but as a way to find series I never would have thought I'd be interested in. I mean, I remember reading Shonen Jump. I found this comic book about the game Go, about this kid possessed by a ghost. I don't remember the name of the comic, um, but that's okay. It was still really cool. It was really interesting. Never would have found it if I wouldn't have. They wouldn't included it. Sometimes Christmas specials or specials like this, where we collect little short stories, all our comics, it's a great way. It's almost like comic book shopping and reading at the same time, because you find something really cool. It's like I want to read more. Yeah, I think that works. We're just gonna cover that in shadow. Yeah, be dark and scary, and I think I've got all the shadows in the background. I think I am done with the background. And now for the magic of doing shadows on the people. Let's start with our main character. I am not sure of her name, but she looks pretty cool. I talked with the artist Dean Zachary, who's also a member of Wednesday Wham. He wanted her coat to be green, so I tried to do like an emerald green. I made it a little darker, but I kind of want it to be brighter. So hopefully this works for him. And again, if it doesn't, you can just go in and make it darker. The magic of digital art. Let's go in and create shadows. Do do do. And I usually also sometimes will use what the inker has done, the little shapes the inker has done. Like here's a line that creates a shape, that creates a shape, and then you just kind of like that creates a shape. And maybe we'll just technically the shadows would go behind here, but we will cheat to pop that arm out a little. Sometimes this has to be accurate. It just has to look cool. Remember, kids, it's all about cool. Something I am not. So, okay. Yeah, okay, it would all be in shadow. Okay, whatever. I tried. It's not right. It's not right. But we will erase this. Let's mark on that brush to a manageable brush size. And let's just do that. Shadows don't look too bad. Let me see here. That is a 34 opacity. Let me see here. What would it look like if it was darker? No. You could do a lighter shadow. No, 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 no. Well, I don't know. That's 40. Kind of like that. Let's stick with a 40. Like I said, if it doesn't work, it's all editable. It's all changeable. It's all for the greater good. Like they said, the greater good. Okay. And later on, anyone on Facebook who finds me later can sit and listen to me ramble about my art, which is my Christmas gift to all of you. She's got a little bit of shadow here. Let me see here. I'm going to kind of sculpt these shadows a little bit. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I don't know. We're going to do the shadow for the gold too, just like that. The gold straps she has. Too dark for the skin. It's okay. We're going to get a lot of light. We're going to get some light on her, so she's going to have more light on her than the door, so hopefully she'll pop more. That's the goal. We would have that would cover that in shadow. We can do that in shadow. We're just kind of, sometimes you just make stuff up. That kind of works. This would be in shadow because of her hair and because I say so, and that is law. There. And then we will, here. Light, light, light. Shadow underneath. There is a lip to the coat. Not as much there, but we can do a little bit of a lip. I almost want to make her shadows darker. That I feel like they need to be darker, but turn off shadows, turn on shadows. That's pretty good. What would 45 look like? 45. I'm going to stick with that for a little bit, see how that feels. Again, feelings. Sometimes you stare at stuff long enough, you get used to it. Sometimes I've had to take a break from stuff, come back to it, think many artists, stare at it long enough, can't figure out what's wrong, something's not right, go do something else for a day or a few hours, come back, and all of a sudden, like, oh, that's what's wrong, it just pops out. Very nice trick, and a good excuse to go play a video game, watch a movie, do whatever. Break your concentration from the art. This whole thing would be in shadow up here. No, it's going to be in shadow. Thought I might do like a little bit of a light coming around her. We forgot to do her. I guess, what do they call her? The collar or whatever. Let us do that. That's going to be mostly in light because that's closest to the light source. Do. Down. We could do a thin little shadow right there. And we'll make that all in magical shadow. Small little shadow. We can make that in shadow. Sometimes I will do little flourishes, like a cut shape down there, and then take this and then just kind of sharpen it, and it kind of looks like kind of cut a sharp shape. This is a lot of time when I do my own colors on my own stuff. I will do that. The light is going to hit here. I almost want to say we can just take out the cut shape, or maybe do it there. Let's try there. That's not bad. Okay, that works. Again, the light is sitting on the other side of this, so this will all be in shadow. Magical shadows. I almost want to, I'm going to cheat a little bit and just add a little bit of a light source right on her collar there, just to kind of pop out her other color. Maybe add some shadow right there. Just playing with shapes. Of course, this will be all in shadow because her armor is casting it. You could do that top in shadow. This would all be in shadow. Inside of her collar would be, or I think that collar, that's a sleeve. I'll be in shadow. The light would be, I mean, technically it wouldn't, but we can do that. Let's just go ahead and make, I was going to do a separate shadow for these maroon or sort of red parts, but I think this works. And that would be, probably just do that. There we go. There we go. Kind of a weird little shape, but it'll work. That sleeve would be in dark. We can kind of do a light source there. Your sleeve is sharper. Do a little bit of shadow there, a little bit of shadow there. And then we cut down the rest of her coat. Here. Her hip. So that would be the hip under her coat. That would be shadow, 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 shadow. Color, color, color. Coloring, coloring, coloring. Zen moment. I should re-edit this video so every time I do these sort of large shapes, I will put in Zen music so we can all sit and meditate on the relaxation of coloring in little shapes. Not only do I bring artistic insight to my videos, but I also bring peace, calmness, and serenity to people's lives. All in a day's work. Let me see here. Okay. That'd be a thick shadow on here, or a big shadow, or lots of shadow. Again, that's her hip underneath her coat. Because girls have hips just like men. But there's a little bit of a shape there. We can use that little shape to be the shadow on the pocket. And then we can use the top of that to shadow that, which kind of pop that pocket out. Just want to do that little piece in shadow too. Don't ask me why, it just calls to me. Some flourishes in there. And I think we are kind of almost done with that side of her coat. Let's do that. Maybe do that. I do a little bit of just below. I'm not really sure. I think these gold things are sewn on top of the coat, almost embroidered in. That's my take on them. So there'd be a slight lip to them, not much, but if you want, we can just put a little shadow like they're casting shadows down. Okay, I think that works. I think we're getting there. It's all good. It's all good. Okay, a little cast there, cast there. Then we can do the rest of that in light. And then down her coat extends past this. This would all be in magical shadow for the most part. And then we can do shadow on the inside. Even though this is dark, we'll make it darker. So it's dark in the end. There. Or I sometimes add slivers of light there, just little things here. Okay, we got most of her done by doing the coat in that one color. Again, it feels. Oh wait, I did not see this sleeve. Look at that. Look at that. I almost missed the most important part. I would have ruined the comic. It would have been incomprehensible. Nobody knew what was going on. They hired me. Their fatal flaw. There. There. Magical. Oh, also, keep forgetting to do little brown areas. Brown, brown, brown. Or I guess are they maroon? They're more maroon, I guess. Maybe we'll do that. Shadows and okay. Okay, let me go back and I still am not completely. Maybe let's play with the opacity of the door. What if I did the door darker? Oh, that's kind of cool. That is a 50, that's a 60% opacity. Now let's play her opacity at 45. Now you could add, you could go really dark like that. That really makes her pop. That is 80%. That will go dark when printed. So you kind of, it looks cool at the light. Remember, everything's going to go a little darker when printed. That is 60. That really pops her. That is a 60. Ooh, should I just go lighter behind the door? I don't know, maybe a light. I want the contrast between the shadows. The shadows on her. I'm almost going to say, let's go down lower on the door. That is a 38. That is a 60. This is just like, that is a 58. Let's go 57, kind of in between. This is a frame of the door, right? Okay, yeah. Maybe let's make the frame a little darker. Well, no, yeah. Something like, that's a 57. Going even 60. It's not too bad. She's kind of popping. Lighter, lighter, lighter. Getting a little, I almost like that dark. That's a 66. That's going to print a little dark. Try 60. In the 60, 62, it'll look different in print. It'll look darker. So even though that doesn't look perfect to me on the screen, it might actually look pretty good when printed because that might come out a little darker. We're going to leave it at 60. And just go with that for now and see how it goes. Okay. Oh, we can actually do the inside of her coat. Forgot about that. Inside of her coat. We need to do her sword. She has these. I think she carries 2 swords. It looks pretty cool. And she always comes armed when delivering food to people who are down on their luck, I guess. Let's see here. Do. Okay, let's go to another shadow layer. Let's do normal. We are going to stow this one at 46 and then start, and then we'll adjust it as we see fit. This would be the blue coat. Let's do that. Here. We can do the shadows here. We could almost probably just do that all in shadow and then put a light source here to pop that. I might just do that. Let's do that. When you see the light on here, it actually pops out even more. It's pretty trippy. It looks cool in shadow, and then you add the light source, and then all of a sudden, woohoo! It's exciting. So, okay. Do we want to? Let me see. How do these shadows? That's a little dark for that. Eh, that's okay. Let me see here. That's going to be all in shadow. There may be just a sliver of light hitting that. Just a sliver. And there'll be something on the back of that handle. Yeah, let's try that. Her pants. Yeah, let's just do it all in the same layer. Is it laziness? Maybe. Maybe you're seeing a lazy artist here. Not me, I'm never lazy. Okay, that's a 46. That's a darker. That's a 61. What about a 62, 63? Let's do 62. There we go. Kind of do it. And of course, when you darken up, you see other little places you miss pop out. That's okay. There'll be a little bit of a shadow, but okay. Okay, so now let's do a different opacity for the silver. Light colors like silver, white, or whatever usually need lower shadows. Because like this is like a 60 on that, and it looks way too dark. It looks black. So to make it look more like a shadow, tone it down. That's a 35%. That's pretty good for a shadow. For like silver or metal. So just general rule of thumb I have is just do most metals, light areas, skin. Depending on the color of the skin, do it lighter. Even African American skin, do a little lighter. I don't know, dark shadows on skin don't really work for my eyes. They might work for other people, but for my eyes, not as much. So that that's in shadow. That's in shadow. Then we'll have lights, highlights hit those, so it'll kind of pop those out on the side. Okay, we still need to do her hair and her skin and the gloves. The gloves. Let's play with the gloves here. We'll throw this on a random arbitrary number, 45. So this is a 45 opacity on the gloves. And then we will adjust it as we see fit. It's probably be the lights hitting it from my left. You would almost have it's almost like the light would hit on the seam. These fingers would be in light. You could do a bottom knuckle because of fire, so you might do this to kind of draw this out, so you can do the bottom knuckle hitting it. Um, you can do the seam, like do it right there, so that other stuff would be light. That's obviously way too dark. That's okay. For the shadow, that's okay. That's what we start out with. Um, let us 45, 40. That is a 38 opacity. I kind of like that one, so I'm going to stick with that. So, okay. 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 Looks like I'm going to do that. Okay. Had to write a quick note to somebody. So she is holding a glove in her hand. That might. So there's a shadow here. we could do a little bit of a shadow. I wonder how. Let me do this. This is shadow. Separate this out. This could be a shadow. Let's do that. 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 Sometimes I can again do the shadows on the seams. This would all be in shadow. That would be in shadow, shadow. I think I'm going to call that maybe good for the shadows. So we're going to pop the rest of it out. Technically, the shadows may not all be right. Let's do that. The light may not be hitting that. The lights could be hitting. It would not be. Technically, all of that would be in shadow too. I wonder if, let's try this. What if we just do this in shadow and then the light maybe is coming up and hitting that? I don't know. We'll figure it. I think that looks okay for now. Okay. Now for the magical skin. And then I get to do the hair. Skin is lighter. Let's do a 25 opacity just to start with and see how that looks on the old skin. That's not too bad. Not too bad. Light's hitting the bottom of her hand because of the fireplace, kind of the bottom. Technically, the fire would be down there, so the fire would be down there. Doot. So it'll be coming up, hitting. So it'll be kind of hitting the bottom left of her hand. Again, you can fudge it. It doesn't have to be completely accurate shadow, but give a general idea where the light source is coming from. And because there is an actual particular specific light source in this scene, some of them you just, light comes from the sky, comes from the sun, you're outside, generally comes, you can do it from above if you want, or a general light source. And this is specific light source. So taking advantage of that makes the scene work all the better. Now let's try that. Well, no, that would be in light. The overcast from the finger above, and kind of do that. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's do that. Kind of makes it, those would all be in light. Her face up there. This would be in shadow. Shadow. Pinch. She would have a little shadow here from her coat. That. A little too much in there, but kind of do that. She would have a slight shadow here from her chest area. Just a slight one. And also because I guess it looks sexy or something. Maybe, I don't know. And you can give a little shadow there if you want. The light will be hitting up there. I was going to say that, and also I'm going to put that in as the darkness. I think that shadow was, let's make the shadow just a tad darker. There we go. That is a 36, from a 25 to a 36. Jumping. So that works pretty well. Looks like, let me see here. Okay, this is a coat. Found a little bit of a do all the time. Back to the skin. The nose area. We're going to do the classic sort of, can't remember, I think they call it the portrait, where you make the V shape sort of thing in there and then you color the rest of it. See, it's funny, now that looks too dark for her face, so we may be toning this down yet again. This is all the issues you come up with. Looks okay, but that looks too dark for her face, so let's That again is a 20. Let's do a 27. That's not bad. Let's stick with that. And let me see. Do I want to do more? That would be the lip. I'd almost say like we can do that. We could do well. Yeah, no. Let's do the hard shadow. Split her face in two. Cut it in two. Your cheekbone is around there. Then it goes kind of in. So that's not bad. The light be cutting up there. Just a smidge. So it's a shadow underneath the brow. That would be in shadow. Do, 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 do. Again, these would be in shadow. Even though technically they're on the other side, they would still be in shadow. We almost, it's strange enough the way her eye comes in, that would almost be in shadow too. And then you could almost do a little bit of that. Kind of massage it a little bit. I think that's going to be okay for her face. We will get bright, shiny things. We can do a little bit of shadow on her lip, bottom lip, that. You can do shadows on the eyeballs with work. You can. Let me see here. I'm going to do another whole nother layer just for the eyeballs because those are stark white. So you can just do a shadow right there where the lid, and then you can kind of, there. There are shadows on your eyes, but they're not really perceptible. Just a little bit. Maybe. Okay. And then, I don't know, should we do it with, yeah, we'll just do a little shadow on there. We'll just use the same layer. Okay, now for her hair. And I think we are done with her. I think so. Let me see. I did her coat, down, the blade, the leather. Yeah, her hair is the last thing. And this is again, another multiply mode. I put it at 40. This is 41. Let's try 40. We'll start there. See how that looks. Might be too dark or too light. Okay. Maybe go the back of her, her hair is coming. That almost, you can see this little circle line. You can almost do that. As far as the back of her hair, this is too light. It needs to be a little darker for her hair. 40 is not. Let's try again. Get that shadow to pop. That is a 62. Yeah, let's stick her 62. That's barely a smidge over 60, which is her coat. 60%. So we will just color in. Now the shadows pop more. You do see that contrast, that difference. Maybe she's got a little shadow here in her hair. There. She's got a little bit of shadow as her. We will do that. Color. Shadow. That. Because we're going to do some highlights. Now, technically, this would all be in. I mean, the shadows would come down here, technically. I mean, if worse comes to worse, the shadows are going to hit all over here. But, we'll fudge it a little. This would all be black. But we want to kind of frame her hair, not just have it completely black. So we will smudge it. Maybe there's light bouncing off something, or who knows. There. And a little bit as it goes, the hair bends into her part in the middle of her head. And a little bit there, shadow. This would all be in shadow underneath. And I'm gonna say it's like, let's just try that in shadow. No, not working. Let's go back. Kind of like that. Maybe add just this one little area in shadow. That's good. That's good. I think she's done. She's done. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, to give you an idea, this is the picture before shadows. This is what it looked like. This is the base colors. After adding most of the shadows, except for the girl holding the bags, boop, pops into that. Magic. Ta-da! I can do my own magic tricks. They're not very impressive, but I do. Let's get another layer here, multiply, and we will start in with the young lady. Looks like the worried mother holding the bag. I'm going to start with the apron, the lighter one. This is a 49. Let's actually do a 35 opacity. That'll work. A little dark, but let's see. Well, maybe not. Let's see how it goes here. Folds in the crease. Fire is coming right to the left from the fireplace. Color, 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 color. Color, 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 color. And this, I'm just going to be making up shapes down here. Okay, let me see here. I think just to the, I almost think I'm gonna, that kind of forms, even in coloring, you can form tangents. That's kind of a little bit of a tangent to me. So we will break it up even more around the bear's foot. Sometimes I kind of like lines if they intersect, like intersect in the middle of the line. So it's intersected on this horizontal line here, the vertical. I don't know, just OCD, I guess. I don't like that bend so much. Let's try to get rid of that, smooth that down. There's, sorry about that. My phone went off. Apparently, I had somebody calling me. Okay. Do, 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 do. Ta-da. Okay. That is a little bit of a flourish and a shadow, but sometimes I add these just to kind of make an interesting shape. Do, do, do. Do, do. Okay. Do, do, do. Okay. There we go. Okay. And then as I do that. Okay. It's kind of like, again, that shadow starts getting a little, even at 25%, that shadow's a little dark. Let's lighten it up. There, there, that's not bad. That is a 22. Now that's the difference between a 22 and a 25. Not much, but it actually can make a little bit of that, take off a slight edge uh to shadow. It almost turns in from looking like a black overlay to a shadow. There's this sort of weird, I don't know if you can see it when I mess with the opacities, but you can see it. With that starts to look like something that's a shadowed light instead of like a black color over the opacity. That's not bad. Still not completely crazy. Let's round that off a little more. There's going to be a lot of light coming here. Do, 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 do. Let's do that. Let's do that. Yeah. There we go. And our hand still would be, I would almost say we could just do all that in shadow. That, that, and that. There. I think that's all for her dress. I kind of like that. She's going to have a lot of light. And so this whole area is going to be lit. So that'd be pretty cool. Let us do for the dark dress. I'm going to start at 50% opacity and multiply, and we will just see how this looks. A little dark. A little dark. Adjust that. Fill in this side of the dress, all in shadow. Fix any little smudges. Do 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 do. Let us fix that. 50 is pretty dark. Let's go down. That is a 30% opacity. From a 50% to a 30%. Not bad. Kind of like it. It's starting to work a little bit for me. Again, not too much shadow. Gonna have a little shadow on some of the wrinkles. Maybe a little bit of shadow there from maybe the dress is casting a shadow. Technically, that wouldn't be there, I don't think. But yeah, a little smidge. Okay. Then we can color shadow from her sleeve. The groceries would be covering that up. You can do all in shadow, kind of like this shape here. We'll use that to highlight the bottom of her elbow. We'll just do that in shadow for right now. Do shadow and then a little bit of shadow here. That is too much. There probably would be a cast light. I'm thinking maybe this. Not too much shadow because this is closest to the light source. She's literally about to burst into flames from the heat of the fire. There. Okay. That works. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. No, just do light. Yeah, kind of do that. Let's see. That's 35. This is 30% opacity. What's a 35? 35 might make it just a little. Yeah, let's try strange enough. Between 35 and 40 is 37. So let's try 37. Yeah, we'll just stick with that. Yeah, okay. Let's do the bag of groceries. I always tend to do skin last, and I don't know. I don't have a reason for that. Um, I just do. Let's do her skin at 25%. We'll start there. Um, no, I don't know. Actually, no, this is the bag. Sorry, skin. So it's just the bag. So we'll start the bag over here. I take it off the eraser. That helps. Yeah, it's a little light for the bag. We'll be going darker on the brown paper bag. I assume it's paper bag. This is supposed to be Victoria, England. I'm sure they had paper bags back then. Maybe, but then the brown could also look like maybe it's a leather bag. I'm not sure. What did they use? They had paper bags back then, didn't they? Come on, that can't be a new invention. Okay. There we can do kind of an undercast from a shadow. Let's actually just start filling that in. This is way too dark for the bag. Shadow's too dark. Kind of like this. Let's clean this up a little bit. Make these edges a little sharper. This is a 43 opacity. That looks about right. That is a 29, 30. Let's try a 32. That's a 34. Let's leave it at a 34. Okay. Kind of like that. Oops, that's the eraser. Bad. That's okay. We'll cut that back in. Nobody saw that. Okay. Okay. That would be the light hitting. This is actually supposed to be like a fold in the bag. So let's put a light source so it would hit here, here. Then add some shadow so it looks like there's crinkles in the bag. Like maybe there's a big crinkle here and there's a shadow there. Then we add a light source. Maybe another crinkle here, another crinkle there. Adding shadows there as we go. That doesn't look too bad. These are just the shadows. We have the whole light. And doing light goes a lot faster. It seems not to be as much to figure out with light. I don't know. Every time I've done light, it has gone super fast. Much faster. No, that's too dark. So we will be doing different opacities. So we'll make another layer. Let's do 25% for the bread. Sesame seed bread. And your sort of basic, maybe a little there. Would that look not too light? Need darker. So we will be doing another one. Multiply. Let's do a 35, 25, and we'll make this piece of bread even darker. This bread is drawing the dark side of the force. The other bread has not. It's not bad. Let's do a 40. I'm going to stick with 40. Let's do something for the package. Let's do 36 opacity, random number. This side of the package would be all in shadow. Maybe do little ribbons in shadow. We can do, that would be in shadow, 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 shadow. And then maybe just a sliver of light just hitting the top of that thing. There. Groceries are done. We have finished the groceries. Okay. Skin. 25. Here we go. It would be shadows from her skin. It would be cast. There would be that would be in shadow. Shadow. Shadow from her sleeve. We could almost do that whole thing in shadow and just have the light hitting there. There you go. Shadow from her sleeve. No, that would be because the shadow from the bag, it would be cutting up. Now, technically, yeah, we'll leave it there. Most likely, this whole thing would be in shadow, but that's okay. I kind of like that shape. Maybe we'll just cut down each finger, creating that area. There. It's not bad. Light that light. You can do a little bit of shadow right there. There. Shadow under her chin. See, no, I think that strangely enough, the shadow on the skin always look good on the hands and neck. So when you hit the face, then that's where I start to go, that's too dark. So we will see. This might be too dark, or might be too light, or just right. Her nose would be in shadow. That's not bad. That's looking pretty good for a shadow. Around her chin. Do the old classic triangle thing if you want. Do 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 do. All in shadow. That. It's not bad. It's looking okay. It's looking good. We can do a little bit with a cast underneath. Do 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 do. A little bit of shadow under her brow. We will shape that into a pleasing shape. There. That shadow for her hair, almost a little too much. Let me see here. Strange. No, I kind of like that. Maybe a little bit just comes down there. Doing. And if you want, you can do a little shadow here in this eye. There. She's all pretty. Okay, let me see here. Do a multiply for her hair. Let's do a 35. And we will start. Oops. Going in the hair. The hair. Very important. That being shadow. That being shadow. Technically, all of this would be in shadow because it's on her side of her head to be covering that up. This would be in shadow, and just for fun, we can add one little strand that the light's doing, just hitting it, just from the side, maybe. Making that pretty. Remember, kids, all about pretty comics. Okay. Oop. A little bit of a smudge. Oh, well. You guys all know I made that mistake. So you can buy the comic and point it out to all your friends. Look at where he messed up. That's why I buy comics, especially from comics and people I know. Just so I can show all my friends where they screwed up. So. Maybe a little bit of shadow there. And there we go. I kind of, let me see. That's 35 opacity. Let me play. That's 47. Let's try 45 even. It's not bad. A little dark, but pops out those highlighted areas a little more. Okay. Now for the, I guess, hat. It's 48. This is going to probably be way too dark. We'll just start from there. That would be in shadow, all in shadow. You could, if you wanted to, I could almost argue that maybe this part right here would hit a little bit of light, just a little. So I'm going to do that. That would be in shadow because the folds over away from the light. This would be in shadow, I think. So is that. And then we can massage these shapes. Now I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to massage this down. Okay, that's not bad. And almost, maybe the shadow here, the hard highlight. Okay, it is 6:29, and I think I have right on the button finished all the shadows for that major scene. So again, no shadows, shadow from light. And it's popping, it's working. save it, and I will thank everyone for hanging out with me tonight, if you're hanging out at all. Um, and next week, a Wednesday Wham, we should have more and more. Again, don't forget to check out our um, Silverline Christmas special. I'll play a video right now and then end it, and then you can. I love this video. Rolling a Santa Claus. Great, fantastic. So I'll play the video, and we'll see you next week. Don't forget to check out the Silverline Christmas special going currently on Indiegogo and Kickstarter, both platforms. Go get them, and see you next week.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! It's Santa Claus, and I'm here to tell you about some Silverline crowdfunding stuff. You know Silverline. They're the comic book company that's an independent, genre-spanning, you know Silverline! They're getting ready to do one of my favorites. It's a Christmas special. Ho, 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 ho! You're going to see some of your classic old favorites of Silverline that you like Bear, and Cat and Mouse, and Divinity, and Demon's Tales, and Kalis, and Rochelle, and Teen Beetle, and Trunks, and Twilight Grim. But you're also going to see some new titles. You'll be introduced to them for the first time. Cake Town, Night Rise, Obsoletes, Satin's Ways, White Devil, and Wolf Hunter. That's right, all those are new to you. New to me too. I'm so ready for them. Christmas is my favorite time of year. Oh, 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 oh. You're going to see some of your favorite Silverline creators like Del Barris, Aiden Belcher, Mike Belcher, Mickey Clausen, Peter Clinton, Roberta Conroy, Brian Dale, Rob Davis, Thomas Floramonte, Thomas Hedgeland, Aaron Humphreys, R.A. Jones, Barb Calberg, Jeremy Kahn, Brent T. Larson, Roland Mann, Haley Martin, John Medic, and Jackson Rennick. Ho, 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 ho! But you know what? There's also a bunch of new names for you Silverline fans. That's right. People like Dante Berry, Quinn Bedwell, Jim Diaglue, J.W. Franklin, Ron Fortier, you know his name, Jose Fuentes, Cassisi Harris, Richard June, Les Loker, Henry Martinez, and Tim TK. That's right. It's gonna be grand. It's gonna be big. Oh, ho, 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 ho. So make sure you pledge to the Silverline Christmas special now. It'll get to you in time for Christmas. It'll look good wrapped up under your tree or in your Christmas stocking. Ho, ho, ho! Make mine Silverline! Wait, that was supposed to be Merry Christmas.